Am I audible? Can someone tell me? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Is it visible?
Yes.
Wait for two. Telegram. Participant. Right. Actually, this function is trying to get the similarity between each movie. So it's going to calculate a 5,000 cross 5,000 matrix approximately. So it is taking some time to get. Because in the meantime, we can try to define the recommend. The idea of the function is that when we give a movie to this function, it will basically find out the top five movies that are very similar to the movie that is given to it, and then it will print the title of these movies. So with the movies, we basically try to get the movie ID or the index, and then with these index, we will be going to find the top five movies by sorting the metric that is now being calculated. So wait, it will take 2 to 3 minutes to run.
यही पका रहे हैं। क्या लैपटॉप छूते हैं, लैपटॉप गंदा होता है, लैपटॉप मोबाइल गंदे होते हैं। जाओ, उसकी
Vikrant,
स्क्रीन गंदी
can
होती है,
you
जाओ हैंड
shut
वॉश
your
करके आओ।
laptop? Okay, so let me give you the overview of this function. So what we are trying to do is we get a movie title from here. Then we try to find out the movie in this metric that we are currently trying to calculate. So we basically equate the title of every movie to the title that is given. And when we found the title, it basically gives us a true value that is one. and then the new movie dot index will give us the index, so we can store it as the new movie index. So this will access the row of the metric. So by this movie index, we basically found out the row number, and then with the similarity function with the similarity applied on it, we get the row. So this similar movie is now a row of the metric. So I guess this is run now. So let's try the shape of the similarity first. Okay, so X side it is a square matrix 4806 by 4806. Try to print first row of it. Okay, so this is basically a array. So this is the first row of the similarity matrix. So you can see there are movies which are basically not at all similar to the first movie. I hope the first movie is Star. Let me see it. Yeah, the first movie is Star. So this movie is not very similar to the first movie, that is Star itself. It is perfectly similar to the movie, so it gives us the value one. And then these are the values for different movies. Like this is 0.10, so it is more similar than the 0.08 movie. So we are trying to get the recommend function. Okay, so we got the row out of the matrix, and now we will try to solve it. So, okay, so it's the list, and then we basically have the list. Number eight, then the row, then the so as I have said, we basically want to sort it in a descending order. So we will use the reverse equals to 2. And since it's a list, so we are going to apply lambda function here so that we can access everything. Okay, so I guess this will work. So we try to get the first top 5 recommendations. For that, we can take the very strong so basically, the 0th item will contain the movie that we are given actually because it has the similarity score equals to 1. So I think we should do it. Okay. Let me check. And then we would simply print the title out. As a given assembly with the iLog function. So we basically want the title. Okay, so once done, we can use the recommend. The dark night title. Another one. Okay, so as you can see, the Dark Knight Rises gives us the Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Batman Returns, Batman and Batman Forever. So these are all the Batman movies. And also see some another movie. Oh, okay, let's do with the Spider-Man. Okay, so it is giving Spider-Man, giving Spider-Man, and not phobia, not seeing this movie. So I guess it is not related to Spider-Man. So the model is not perfectly making it, but it has similar semantics to the Spider-Man movie, or the plotline. Maybe the plotline is similar. It is related to some sci-fi movie or a superhero movie. I don't know about it. So basically, the model is this one. So now, is there any chance to improve it? Basically, right? So we can have two improvements here. The first one is the how we are trying to get the features out of the text. So basically, we use the bag of words. Like here, you can see the count vectorizer module. It is used for the bag of words. So we have used the bag of words. It is one of the most simplest NLP techniques that we use for the vectorization here. But we can use different types of techniques like word to vector or TF-IDS or any other thing like that for the NLP purposes. And here we have used the most simplest algorithm that can be used for the recommendation system like the KNN approach. But we can also deal with the different metrics or the different distance functions that we can compute, like Euclidean distance for how long is distance, or we can try different weightings. Like we have just included the director's name in the last of the semantics. So if there is a director, it is only a one word. So Begopod is not going to give so much importance on this particular word. Like it will treat every word similar to the director, but there is a type of cinematography that is associated with a particular director, or like the actors. Many people watch the movies because of the actors only, but the bag of words technique is giving similar importance to every word that is present in the text column. So it is giving the same thing for the actors and also for a word like try. There is nothing related between these two words. Like tribe is very less significant in terms of the movie context, but name of the actor will be very much significantly important for the recommending any movie to a person. So we can have the improvement in these two levels. So this will be going to be an assignment for you guys to deal with these types of techniques. I will give you a theoretical overview for them, and then you can have it. Like it's almost 11 o'clock. So we have 20 minutes remaining. So basically, I want to discuss this thing. I've prepared these slides for you. So they basically contains the NLP part only. So let me give you a quick overview right now. Just a second, right? Okay, so what is NLP? So the first question is what is natural language? So natural language is the language that we humans basically use to exchange our ideas. But the ability of us to read and listen the ideas with the help of the natural language is is not something that is understandable by the computer. So that's why the scientists decided to make something called natural language processing. So basically, natural language processing enables the computer to understand the language of our human. So it try to give the context and the associated sentiments and intention behind the text itself. So NLP combines the computational linguistics with statistical machine learning model. That's what we have done today. Like KNN is a machine learning model that is used in different kinds of algorithms. Like it can be used for classification purposes, can be also used for the regression purposes. But we have used natural language processing to use it in the text format, and then we build a recommendation system out of it. So text vectorization, the thing that we have done today is the text vectorization. It is the first step of any natural language processing because the computers only understand the number, and to convert any text to a number, we need the text vectorization. So what is vectorization? As I recently said, like it is the classic approach of converting input data from its raw format, which is the text here, into a vector of real numbers. So in machine learning, it's a part of feature extraction. Okay. So the bag of so it is one of the simplest techniques as I said. So the bag of words contains three steps: the tokenization, vocabulary creation, and the vectorization. So let's talk about the tokenization. The tokenization is basically breaking down the string into smaller tokens. Like we have broken down our long string into the word. We can also try to break down it into the bigrams or trigrams. And then there is the vocabulary creation. So what is vocabulary? Vocabulary is basically a superset of the tokenized word. So the vocabulary basically contains all the words together, and then with the help of vocabulary, we implement the bag of words. So scikit-learn use the count vectorization for it. You can also implement it with yourself. Like it's a very basic technique. You can implement it with yourself. So vector creation. So let's take a toy example. So let's see these four sentences, the red dog and the other three sentences also. So they basically contains these six words. And now the red dog, this sentence contains the first three red words. So the first three entries are one word because it is the frequency of the term that is present in this sentence. Like the only appears once in the sentence. So here it is. If there are two the in this sentence, then there is a two written. So it is basically a frequency based method to convert text into a numerical vector. Similarly, you can see the third sentiment here, like the dog eats food. So there is a dog, there is eat, and there is food. I hope it's clear now. Is there any doubt in bag of words? Like we have implemented it recently and now we are seeing the theory. Okay, I guess no doubt. So as I have said, we can also use the n-gram instead of the unigram. So what is a unigram? Like we are tokenizing in each word of a sentence into a different entity. Like this is a sentence. This whole thing is tokenized into individual entity. But we can also use a tokenizer like bigram. Then we are taking a group of two members. Like this is a one entity. Is also a one entity. A sentence is also a one entity. We can also use the trigram. This is a sentence. These two will be taken as a different entity. We can also combine unigram, bigram, and trigram together to get the feature space and get the complex vectorized vectors out of the text. Okay, so this is one interesting frequency-based method, TF-IDF. So it basically stands for the term frequency, inverse document frequency. So in bag of words, we have talked about that it is going to give same importance to every word. Like maybe a word is not that much significant for the meaning of the sentence, but it will give same importance for every word. Now, what the TF-IDF tries to do is it removes the issue of the uniform importance, like it is what written here. So the basic idea is that to give more importance to the more important or less frequent word than the more frequent and less important word. So this is what written here. In this method, words that get repeated too often do not overpower the less frequent word or the important. So what does this mean? Suppose sentence contains only name once, like James Cameron is the director name. It only appears in whole semantics only once. But we have other words like maybe action, adventure. These words are frequent in the semantics. Then what the bag of word is going to do, it is going to give the similar importance to every word. So it will maybe it classify a movie into a adventure based series rather than classifying based on the director. So TF-IDF tries to resolve this issue. Okay, so TF-IDF has two parts. So the first one is the term frequency. It is basically for the term in the document. Suppose there is a term like A and there is a document. So basically what the document is, it is basically a string or a paragraph or something that is written in the text. So term frequency is basically the normalized frequency of the word. So number of occurrence of the term T in the document D divided by the total number of terms in the document D. So this is the formula of the term frequency. And then we have the IDF, which is the inverse of the document frequency. So what does the document frequency mean is document frequency is basically the number of documents with terms T in them divided by the total number of documents in the corpus. Corpus basically means the vocabulary. So it is basically the document frequency, and then we take the inverse of that and then apply a log. To get the TF-IDF out of this, we basically multiply these both term frequency and the IDF frequency together to get the TF-IDF score of a term in a document of a corpus. So let's see an example here. Basic commands data DVC essential for Linux and science. This is the vocabulary for these two words. Basically, in a commands for the data science and essential DVC commands for the data. So if we use these two sentences in the bag of words method, then it is going to give same importance to each of the words. But now, as you can see, for the text one, we are given like almost 0.5 importance to the word basic and the word Linux here, and given 0.35 weight to the command data and science. Similarly, for the text 2 also, we have given 0.5 and 0.5 to the DVC and the essential words, and other words are going to get the less important. And 0 is for like if the basic is not present in the text 2, so it is written as 0 here. So with this, we are weighting the importance of the word in the sentence. Like basic and Linux are the two words that are more important for the text one. So it basically tries to give more weightage to these two words, like basic and Linux. As I have said, they are getting 0.5 importance rather than 0.35 or 0 importance here. I hope that difference between the TF-IDF and bag of words is clear. Due to time constraint, I am like rushing over them. Okay. So the concept of n-gram is also applicable here. We can implement them in this method also. Okay. So the next thing is the word2vec. So word2vec is a research paper that is developed by the Google itself, Google research team in 2013, I guess. So it is different from the frequency-based method. It is used the neural network for generating the word embedding. So in bag of words, each term is treated as an individual entity, and we ignore the context and the semantics completely. But with the help of word to vector, we can learn the contextually aware embedding for the word. So let me cover there again. Okay. So the red dog. So we are treating the red and dog, these three words as a single entity. But if we see, red is an adjective that is used for the dog. We can also use it for a cat. So this is something like a context, like dog is red, it's the context for the sentence. So we want this context in our semantics also. TF-IDF and bag of words both are not capable of capturing the semantics. So we are going to learn about the word to vec technique now. So it is a neural network based approach. In reality, every word is mapped to an n-dimensional vector in such a manner. Like similar words which have same meanings or same context are lying in the close proximity to each other in the n-dimensional hyper. So basically, we map each word to a n-dimensional vector, and then these vectors are arranged in such a format that the words that have similar meaning, like they are synonyms of each other or any other semantic relation, they lie very close to each other. And if there is another type of semantic relation, suppose they are antonym of each other, then these two vectors are completely far apart from each other. So okay, there are two implementations of the word to vec technique. First is the skip gram technique. So what we do in the skip gram, we basically take a word of a sentence and then we feed it into a neural network and then try to predict the output. And these outputs are nothing but the words that are neighboring to the target word. So suppose, let's take an example of this sentence here. So suppose there is a word neural that we fed into the sentence, and then we try to get two words that are neighboring to this neural word. So there is a network and there is the word and. So these two words will come wi plus 1 and wi plus 2. And there is a word like to and are. They are below the neural word. So they come wi minus 2 and wi minus 1. So this is what basically written over there. You can have a look. Yeah, I have this. So okay. So the number of neighboring words that we are trying to predict in this figure basically depends on the window. So suppose if we take a window size of 2, then we are going to get the just a second. Okay. So if we take the window of 2, then we are going to look for two words in the right and two words in the left. And if there are no words present before our target word or after the target word, then we are going to look for the words that are present. So suppose for the, we are going to look for the quick and the brown. So the training samples will contain the quick and the brown. And similarly for brown, there's like brown the, brown quick, brown fox, and brown jump. These are written over here. So they are basically the double that are fed into the network. Let's talk about the architecture. Okay. So the neural network architecture of this skip-gram technique is like very similar. It's a shallow neural network. So it basically contains a single hidden layer, then an output layer, and it is fed by an input. So how can we fit a word into the, so we basically use the bag of word text. Like we have created a vocabulary and then we mark the presence of a word in the vocabulary by one, and all the other words are marked as zero. So we get a one hot encoding for every word. Then we fed them into our neural network. The neural network will contain a hidden layer that is also linear. So like there is no linearity involved in this skipgram implementation of the word to word. So it basically tries to learn two weight vectors. So the first weight vector W is present here, and the second weight vector W prime is present here. So what does this W matrix will do? This W, after multiplying this 1 cross V vector, V is the dimension of the vocabulary. After multiplying this 1 cross V vector by the V cross N matrix, we get a 1 cross N vector of the, where N is the number of neurons. Like we can take 10,000 dimensional vector, like 10,000 is the number of words in our vocabulary, and then there are 300 neurons. So we are basically going to have 10,000 cross 300 matrix, that is the weight vector, and we basically interested to find out these weight vectors, as these weight vectors are going to be the embeddings for the word. So basically embedding is a numerical representation of any text or a term. So we are learning about the weight matrix that is present here, and then we will learn another weight matrix, that is W prime, that is also of similar order but in the reciprocal form. And then on the output layer, we have the softmax function. So let's look into it. Okay, so there is a input to hidden layer weight, that is W. It is of size B cross N, and each row corresponds to the embedding of a specific word. So input to hidden layer is this weight matrix, and then we have a hidden to output layer weight, that is W prime. It is of size N cross B, like these are reciprocal of each other. And then each column represents how the embedding relates to every word in the vocabulary. Like we are trying to predict the probability of these words. So we are basically trying to predict the probabilities of these words of founding near the our target word. So these are context words, and the fed up word is called the target word. Yes, sir. Okay, so the output layer is the sigmoid function. So this is the expression for the sigmoid function. Can anybody tell me what is the range of the sigmoid function? Simply looking at this expression.
0 to 1.
Yeah, it's correct. It's a 0 to 1 function. Okay. Okay, so as I said, after training, we are basically interested into this input to hidden layer way. Basically, they will work for us at the embedding of the. So the embeddings are dense, low dimensional vectors and captures the semantics. So suppose there is a case. After learning these weight vectors, we get a vector of words like 0.21 minus 0.45, 0.78, and dot dot dot. So this is a vector for the word king. Similarly, we get a vector for the queen. Similarly, we have a vector for men and we have a vector for women. And if we basically try to do the linear algebra, if we try to subtract the men word, the vector of men from the king and then add the vector of woman in it, we approximately get close to the vector of the queen. So this is like assuming there are four vectors in a n-dimensional space. So basically, n is the number of neurons. We can basically limit them by the hyperparameter. So if we try to do the algebra, we get something like this. So basically, the king and the queen, there is a relationship between them. So it also includes the semantics of these words. And similarly, if there is a king and there is a beggar, these two words are kind of very different from each other, then they are very far apart from each other. If we try to find out the cosine similarity or find out the Euclidean distance between them, we will get to know that they are lying in very different directions of each other in the final setting. Okay, after converting each of the words, how we will going to get the vector for the whole document is the point. So we are going to get this by the concatenation or averaging or sequence models like LSTM or GRUs. They are as the sequence model to get this embedding for the sentence after getting the embedding for each of the words. So I will quickly rush through the continuous stack of words. So basically, continuous stack of words is the mirror image of the skipgram. So in the skipgram approach, we are feeding the target word and then we are predicting the context. But in this approach, we do the exact opposite. We fed the context word and try to predict the target word from this. So the architecture is also very similar. And now we are interested in this W prime matrix that is of size n cross p, in which each of the column will correspond to the final embedding of our word. So the input layer will take key context words, and each of them will be a one hot encoded vector of size 1 cross p, making the entire input of p cross b dimension. I hope it's clear. Like x, there are p x's, and or they each of them is of size 1 cross p. So the whole thing is of size p cross p. And then after multiplying this by a v cross n vector, we get a c cross n matrix. So a C cross n matrix is nothing but C vector of 1 cross n dimension. And then we basically average out each, each of the entries element wise to get the output layer final activation. And we use the softmax function here also to get the output score for the target word. Okay, so the skip gram versus CBOW, which is the continuous stack of words. So basically, skipgram is used in smaller data sets that contains the rare word, and CBOW is basically used for the frequent word. But the choice basically depends on the data set and the problem. So guys, I'm not going to finish this slide, but you will have it. So you can have a look at it. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me or you can have a DM on, like, I'm not going to place another session after it. So let's end the meeting. Okay, thank you. Bye.